Okay, hello, Ms. O'Hearn. I'm here to explain to you my professional development project that I'd like to present or propose to the school. The project is to make basically a forum available for the parents of learning support students to come in, ask questions, share stories, and experiences of living with kids with special needs. Uh, we also like to touch on social emotional elements of this. My objective for this is to build community with the parents, administrators, teachers, and professionals in the area around our kids to support them and each other. So what this would be I'd like to have a place once a month where we can invite the parents, maybe even some former kids, and have a professional speak on things like ADHD, um, ASD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, that type of thing, and have parents be able to feel like there's a community that supports them. Because a lot of times it's hard for people who don't have special needs kids to really understand some of the things that the kids go through. And it's the same with if we were able to have former special needs kids come in and talk about what their experiences were and what they think would have helped them out when they were in school. I can implement this project as soon as I could find us a room that we could use once a month. I know there's plenty of professionals in the area that are willing to come in and speak. And I'll know this is successful when I see the participation over the next few months, see if we can increase it, and when I'm getting feedback from everyone on how they feel about it.
Yep, I think this is a really good and needed professional development idea and community-based learning idea, because here at this school we lack knowledge for the parents and education for the parents about what these special needs are, what special education really is. There's a stigma around it here because of the culture that we're in. So starting something like this could start to break down those walls, and over time it could help kids get the help they need that they just aren't getting now because parents don't really know what to do. Parents aren't really sure if they want to tell the school what maybe their problems are with their kids. And so I think it's really a support thing for parents as well, so that they can feel confident and okay about saying, okay, I really want my kid to get extra help. And when they have an expert coming in, they realize it's not so scary. It's not just such a stigma. There's lots of kids dealing with this, and it brings it down to a bit of a more comfortable level for them.
Let me ask you, I know you've been teaching for a long time. What do you feel at the different places that you've been? What is the level of knowledge of your average general ed teacher on how do they want this to be handled with the identification of special needs kids? I know you usually have like these steps you need to take, these things you have to try to implement with the kids, and it seems like it's quite a bit, and that's even before they get on like a student of concern list.
Right.
What have you experienced with teachers with that? How do they feel? Do they think it should be more of a learning support issue, that the learning support is in trying these things out?
Well, I think that most teachers that are coming out of teacher education programs now definitely have the mindset of inclusion. But I do think most teachers feel like they need more help to know what to do with kids that have anything that's, not in the norm of the average kid. So they need learning support to be in there helping and planning with them. And so something like this could be to kick that off in terms of starting to even have groups of teachers that are going to these as well, and they could be the teachers that are working the most with learning support to have those kids in their classroom, because right now it's hard for one learning support teacher to push into 6 classrooms.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Ideally, what would you have if you could have it set up the way you would like it?
I mean, I think you would want to, if you could only have one learning support for 6 classrooms, I think you would want to cluster those kids maybe in 2.
Okay, yeah.
Because we don't have, in an international school, we don't have as many kids. They're just not allowed to be in the school. So that's going to make it a little more manageable with one learning support.
Well, is this school trying to work being more inclusive? Is that correct, or do you see that happening? Because some parents don't want their, like, if they have a special needs kid in another school and then like a sibling here who doesn't have those same needs.
Right.
Do you think this school would be working towards that? I thought I read that somewhere. That,
I think that there is a limited amount of the idea of having inclusion. I
okay.
think they still realize, as an international school, we don't have the support mechanisms in place.
Yeah.
And so we don't have the teachers of expertise to do anything beyond like your basic, like you mentioned, dyslexia and some of those more common and not as severe disabilities. So
Mhm.
I think that we do have somewhat of an inclusion idea here, but it's very limited in terms of just the kids that are admitted. They're not going to take someone that has too much of a learning problem.
Would you like to see that change, or if the proper structure is in place?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at Addis, they started that the year that I came. The new principal came and really had this inclusion uh, element to the school that he wanted to bring. And I've just noticed recently on their Facebook page all these different things that the school is doing now. And it's taken about 6 years to get it to where he wanted it to be. But that's one of the big changes that he made, and it seems to be really successful.
Well, great. Again, I appreciate your time and your input on this, and I'll hand it in this week. Thanks, Eric.